Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this digital version of PHAMCast. Preventative Health Awareness Month and Movement is in full swing, and I got to tell you, I am vibrating with excitement for the guests that I have on with me today. You're seeing her beautiful face on the screen with me right now. Kim Fitzpatrick, who is not only somebody I admire, she's a friend, a fierce businesswoman. She's a life, leadership, and business executive coach. She has built multiple seven-figure businesses, which not only do I admire, but I've taken part in and collaborate with. She's also got a background in gerontology and an absolute passion, as do I, for aging optimally. She's background in gerontology, but really we're both about health span and lifespan. Kim Fitzpatrick is in the house, and I couldn't be more excited on this growth day during Preventative Health Month. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Mark. Thank you. I can feel your electricity, and I also just want to say, a massive shout out and thank you, Mark, to your vision for this, to be a part of the concept that you've brought in. And I think we've known each other for, almost a decade. And, one of the things that's always been so powerful with you, Mark, is your absolute conviction in prevention and sharing the word. So to be here with you as you've created this month and you are making moves, like literally for people that really need to hear this, it is an honor to be a part of it. So thank you, Mark, for your work and your conviction, because this is just something that's so important.
It means a lot. And thank you for recognizing that. You're absolutely right. I'm not only convicted, it's been my life's work for 43 years, from having the clinic to selling it 3 years ago to do more legacy work, which is preventative health, which is PHAM. But I'm humbled and grateful to see the transition in the last 3 years. Be careful what you put into the universe. If you get to work and you get busy and you attract ambassadors like you from across Canada, now into the US, who also share a vision for changing the future of healthcare in our countries, both now here in Canada and the US, and arguably this is going to go global. I know it. I feel it in my soul. Yeah. But it's not possible without the passion and commitment, like people like you, professionals like you, that are putting your hand up and saying, yes, I will take time out of my busy schedule, like you're doing right now, to pour into people, everyday Canadians, and entrepreneurs alike that want more for their lives, want to be better, want to be the CEO of their health and their lives, but they don't know where to turn. And I don't think there's ever been a more important time in our history than now to really get into the preventative health mode and to invest in prevention and empowerment than ever before, given what we're facing. The world can be really overwhelming right now. But what we're about to talk about today, with Growth Day being an entire day dedicated on the calendar in PHAM, is really part of my practice and yours, because it's what's keeping me, I'm going to be candid, sane some days with the craziness of what's going on us in the world. And each of us have to play our own role in our own growth so we can grow better together, as I always say, as a society. So thanks for joining me.
Oh, Mark, I appreciate it so much. And it's like you're speaking my language. So if there's anyone listening that's like, yes, personal growth, personal development, life and leadership, and most importantly, the notion of that we are better together, we're stronger together. And, one of the things too, Mark, is this underpinning of like, we're not in this alone. No. And life can be messy and life can be hard. When you know that, though, you can transcend that and you can have the tools to be able to respond to when life will happen for you, which it might happen for you multiple times a day. And what we're talking about today with growth and personal development is giving you the tools and, if you will, the permission to be an agent in your life versus being a bystander or in the back seat. We want to put you in the driver's seat. And that's really what the conversation is about today.
Exactly, which is why I felt, and that's why I reached out to you, that during Preventative Health Month, which that is the foundation of what we're talking about, literally stocking the toolbox. That's why it's Health Canada recognized, because we need to have practical, hands-on, implementable, actionable tools, and really thinking about growth in a way that can be implemented day in and day out to change and to reach your goals, but to also just increase your own happiness. Is critically important. So I think before we start talking about personal development, I think many of you know my story, my health journey, and I'm not going to get into that today because that is really the genesis of why I've done my whole work and why PHAM is what it is. but people don't, not everybody knows your story, Kim. And I want you to share your powerful and impactful story that's been fraught with a lot of loss, with trauma. But what really, for me, what makes me love you so much is your resilience, your willingness to share vulnerably, your willingness to ask for help, but your willingness to also go out of your way to share your story so you can help others, which is why you are the epitome of what a ambassador is. So tell us your story.
Yes, I'd be honored. Thank you, Marg. And I think it's important for anyone that's listening when you hear Marg say, you know, part of my story is the reason and the catalyst for why this is here, why you're here, why you're listening. You know, and I believe that's my story is why I'm here. My story is how Marg and I found each other. Actually, it truly was through a work of a shared book. And, you know, so one of the things that I would say is this, is that my story started with, it was not a romantic story, actually. In fact, it was the opposite. So my life was built on sacrifice. And my mom, her name's Carol Para, she was 31 years of age when she gave birth to me. She had Hodgkin's lymphoma in remission, got pregnant with me, her third little baby, and she had to make a decision whether or not to continue on with treatment or to keep me. And she and my father made a decision and my dad told me this, so I was about 34, I'll never forget it. He said, the other option was never an option. So my mom knew that she wanted me here. She wanted to carry me to term. I believe I helped her maybe live a little bit longer because when I was born, she was terminal and she passed 11 months later. She was in and out of the hospital. You know, often I hear this, I get stopped in the street by elders of the church and women and men of the community. Obviously, our family really stepped in and supported my dad during this time, but so did the community. And when I think about what you're creating, Marg, with community, and I think about who and surrounded our family, you know, is people stopping me on the street now that say, I knew your mom, or I held you as a little girl. Or, you know, I've got pictures from my friend who's like my mom's best friend, and we were in the playpen together because I was raised by a village. And, you know, that there's something to be said in that when there is someone that's going through something in their life and the community steps in. And, you know, I feel like I always was trying to figure out my place for a long time in my life. You know, there was a lot of loss and a lot of trauma and a lot of grief. And I will say that, you know, maybe wasn't handled all in the best way for a lot of things. And in that experience, a lot of harm came to me in a sense where I was spent a lot of my life trying to figure out where I fit, told I was a lot because I was born shining, right? I was born on purpose, like this little unicorn that came out. And, you know, I spent a lot of my life trying to figure out how to share that shine without it being dulled. And that was troubling and hard, and there was grief and there was loss. But through that, one thing really happened for me probably in my midlife when I realized, hey, listen, you can either stay bitter or you can get better. And I lived in victimhood and what happened for me. And that's a hard place to live. And what I'd say, Marg, is if you don't know better, you can't do better. And I didn't know there was another way. I didn't know that I just didn't have to suffer all the time. I didn't know that I could become healed and whole and honestly honor her legacy without having to suffer through it every day. And that was powerful. And that was the unlock. You know, when I was 17 years of age, my uncle handed me a Wayne Dyer cassette tape. And I was in my neon, okay, with my fancy neon, with my cassette tape holder. And I started learning that my mind and how I thought and my thoughts control my feelings and what you think controls your life. And I was really introduced to the whole concept of mindset and, you know, nurturing yourself and self-learning and self-help, which then I would say was a little bit mocked at, right? Therapy, all those things were like, oh, we don't do that. We're fine. Let's brush everything under the rug. But I'm proud that I did that. So from 17 years of age, I have really pursued my personal growth, my personal healing. And that's helped. And losing a mom at such a young age, but then having a tumultuous relationship, you know, with like yourself, but also with people that are raising you was really hard. And I'm still coming to grips with that. I would say, Marg, for me, my story really started the day that I became a mom. when I realized as well that now I'm not only living for myself and my mom's legacy, but I get to raise these little babies, and figuring out how to parent myself and how to figure out what being a mother is and what unconditional love is was what changed my life. And it really propelled me into forward growth of, Kim, you're either going to repeat what happened for you, or you're going to change the history of the family and break intergenerational curses. And that is what I'm here for. And, as much as there were intergenerational issues, there were intergenerational blessings that I bring forward too. And there is room for all of it. But I really feel proud of the work I've done. My story does not come easy. There's many more things that I could get into that I won't, but, it's one of survival. It's one of, really having to let my armor down. Mark, I felt like I lived a lot of my life with armor on. Let me be cold. Let me be ready. I'm ready to fight. And what I'm learning as I age and as we grow up is that you can put your armor down because you have tools and you have a community and you have support and you're safe and you're seen. And when I feel that way, you can heal that way. And you can build that way and you can grow that way. And, really that's what I come with. I come with a life of tribulations, but also a life that was given to me on purpose. And I always say I accept the cards I was dealt because I wouldn't be who I am without them.
Oh.
And I'm proud of that.
You know what? I resonate with that aspect of your story. And thanks for sharing, as you always do, so vulnerably, Kim, because I think, yes, it's in the vulnerability and the authenticity, which I think is another really big thing. And I'm going to say this, and I think I've said this to you personally, but I'm going to say it publicly. Watching even the growth in you've only shared a small snippet, and it's a powerful part of your story. But there's been as all of us have some really challenging struggles in life and trauma and loss and other people in our lives that are going through their things that impact us, and we're trying to hold it all together. You've been vulnerable and shared when you've needed help, which is really cool. So you are seen in a community as being this fierce leader. Yet when you need to be led, you're willing to lean in and ask for the help, which I greatly respect. To me, that's the biggest part of growth. But what I'm going to say publicly is I've watched another metamorphosis of you. And you always talk about becoming, the next version of yourself, because I think it's a forever, rest my father's soul. He always said, you continue to live and fail forward and become your whole life, because if we're not growing, we're dying. Yeah. And therefore it's really important. But to watch the growth in you, the transformation in you through your vulnerability and sometimes getting very, very quiet. It has been really, really cool to watch. And I know how hard that work is and how many people shy away from that inner work. Our story is very different, but a lot of parallels with loss and grief. And I too feel like I was dealt as a very young girl. Yes, I had a very strong, warm family around me. My mother to this day is a PHAM trailblazer and donating to this cause because she believes in what I'm doing. So I'm blessed. But I've had my own real struggles and challenges, and a lot I'm not proud of too. But I was determined that I was going to take that. It's my calling. And I'm seeing that in you, but to watch the growth in you in a way, it's really cool to see how vulnerable you're being, but in such a fierce way. It's attracting others to say that they can do it too, because it is about just, everybody's story is unique, but we share commonality. And when, we can talk about quantum physics, I won't digress so much, but we're all interconnected. And so by sharing these stories, we're going to help others do as well. So I think, thank you for sharing that, because setting the foundation of what we're about to talk about, which is Growth Day, and a tool that we both use that help us and help in both our personal and professional lives, I think it's critical because others will relate to our story in some way. Don't you agree?
I do. And I think what you said too, Mark, just to go back to the ability to ask for help, and sometimes help is just pulling a book off your bookshelf, or it's going silent and just maybe listening to that podcast or the app that we're about to talk about. Because sometimes help actually doesn't need to be, hey, I'm struggling, I need this help. Sometimes help is just an internal compass. And that's really led me to how I've led myself has helped me to reveal myself. And, you know, it's like I've revealed the things I need. I've revealed, hey, yes, I've built these things. Yes, I'm this fierce leader. But over here, I'm still this little girl trying to navigate my 16-year-old and all the things that I know he's going to get into, right? And we're just figuring it out. And if you don't have the tool belt, if you don't have the support, if you don't have the community, and if you don't have the, I would say the discernment, but also just the, forget our ego, like goodbye ego. It's this willingness and the self-awareness to say, hey, I'm putting my hand up because I want to be better. And I want to learn and I want to grow. And growth, like you said, is everything. If you're not growing, you're dying. Literally. Yeah. So I agree with you completely.
Yeah. And I think, you know, our body is a house for our emotions. This is the place we live. And so, yes, we need external community in a village is critically important. We need external help, but the help starts here. And that to me is why personal development is the cornerstone. And if you're not taking time, and it doesn't have to be another thing on your to-do list that overwhelms you, it should be woven into the fabric of your day-to-day in such a way that makes sense for you. We're not here, Kim and I are not here to say, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to do it. Because I'll tell you, in motherhood, in life, in entrepreneurship, in leadership, I find when someone is boxed in like that, you've got to do this workout program this way, only this way. It sets people up for failure and also a sense of loathing, self-loathing, because, oh, I failed again. No, if we come back to our inner compass, as you so beautifully said, and listen to what do I need right here, right now? What do I, as an almost 58-year-old woman who went through menopause at 39 and I'm constantly changing, and my kids, I've got a son getting married, my daughter's going to be graduating. I'm at a different phase. We've got, you know, loss of loved ones. My father-in-law just passed away. I've got a beautiful mother who I have a friendship with, but also a sense of, and this is not with burden, but with absolute love and respect that I get to be in relationship with her. All of these things require our time. But if we're not coming back and integrating into our day-to-day lives small internal practices. I'm flying later today, or actually this is airing after I fly, but I'm speaking to a real estate professionals to a conference. And, you know, our homes are, we spend all kinds of time making sure our homes are our havens. This is the home we live in. And if we don't start honoring the home we live in, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, we will struggle with all the external tools we have. And so to that end, let's talk about this really cool mentor we both have that led us both to this incredible tool that's not just this nice to have, you know, personal development app, but rather for me, it's been a game changer personally, professionally, which I'll get into. But let's talk about Brendan. And you speak to him because we both have been following his work for a very long time in the world. And if you don't know Brendan, then you should. I should have one of his books. They're on my shelves here somewhere. Oh,
you got it. Yeah. So Brendan Bouchard is, incredible. He is he's a national bestseller. He's an incredible author. He's an amazing speaker. You know, Brendan Bouchard has worked with the likes of Oprah, the president. He is one of the top world-class leadership coaches, executive coaches, high performance coach. And he truly is someone that is paving the way in the world to help you live this bold, courageous, motivated life. I think that's what I love the most about Brendan is he accepts and understands. He stood on the roof of a car, not sure whether his life was going to be over at the age of 20, you know, and he too has a story to share that is of overcoming, that is of, hey, am I living? Am I loving? Am I mattering? And that at the end of the day, I can get behind because he's a hard-living leader, you know?
And am I happy? He talks so much about of you. Happiness is here. It's not looking for external things for happiness.
From here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Brendan's been one of my mentors. Now, he didn't know he was my mentor for the first 10 years, but he's known for the last 7. He created the Growth Day app actually in 2021 was like where it all started happening. I was one of his first ones on his email list of Growth Day because my uncle Paul's like, you're going to want to see this app that Brendan's doing. He's got all the greats, all the people you've ever watched, all the learners, all the thought leaders. There's courses, there's these things. And I was like, Uncle Paul, what are you talking about? It can't be that good. It's that good. And I've watched it iterate, Mark. We've watched it iterate. We've participated. It really resonated, Mark, when you said, this helped me personally, but also professionally.
Yes.
I love the blend that Brendan brings of the life, but the performance coaching, the life, but the career coaching, the life, but the leadership coaching, which I believe lends it to anyone, whether you're a stay-at-home mama or working as a C-suite. This is relatable information based on where you're at, because it's personal, and personal development is personal, right?
It is. And you're so right. And you're right. He probably doesn't even know he's been my mentor for a very long time.
He will.
But that doesn't matter, because it is about finding what works for you, and his work, whether it be his books, his podcast, now this Growth Day app. And I'm going to share a little bit of a story about how I've used it. So as a regulated health professional, as a registered massage therapist, and proud to be for 33 years, we are required, like many professions, regulated health professions, to do continuing education or CEU credits to keep our license active. And being a lifelong learner, I've never balked that. I love that. How do you stay on top of your game? How do you give the best to the people you have the privilege of treating if you're not constantly learning and growing? So, of course, I've always taken clinical courses, hands-on courses, and stocked my clinical toolbox. And I'm a very confident clinical therapist. I love it. But in the last 3 years since I've sold my clinic, am I still treating? In fact, I'm going to treat today. But here's what I know. This PHAM movement, I've been called to do something very different now. To take the years, the 3 decades of clinical experience, the more than 3 decades of personal experience in health and my health story, my media experience, and my passion for education, to help create what's now become the PHAM movement. That is really picking up momentum. And so when I had to look at my CEU credits for this year to renew my license as a massage therapist for this year, I really had to stop and really reflect on what did I need as a person and as a professional in order to make me the best version of me. Yes, check the boxes I needed to check for my professional association and my college, because I'm a rule follower most of the time. You can't be an entrepreneur and not push the envelope sometimes. But in this case, you got to check the boxes where you're required. And so in doing my learning outcomes for my CEUs on our, what we call as a massage therapist, the Strive platform, our college requires us to do a bunch of things. I thought, okay, leadership is something I got to hone in on. Personal development, self-care, because I have to have tremendous energy if I'm going to lead this now nationwide, actually North American-wide movement with 65 healthcare professionals and climbing and organizations. I got to be on my game. So I got to lead me first. And so I thought, well, what can I do to learn from my, for my own leadership and personal? And along came Growth Day, the app. Thanks to you, because you were the one that said to me, hey, Marg, you should check out this Growth Day app. And I'd seen Brendan post about it. I knew that it was out there, but then I really took a good look at it. And within this app, which we'll jump into in a quick moment, we're going to talk about all the incredible aspects to it and the offerings in it. But immediately it was checking off all the boxes I need when it came to personal development, when it came to leadership, when it came to my CEUs, when it came to my learning objectives. But most importantly, with keeping me accountable. But in a way, as I mentioned just earlier, weaving into my life in a way that it didn't feel completely overwhelming, but started to integrate to become just part of what I do. And that's when you know something's powerful, because when it becomes just the fabric of what you do, and it becomes, because what is that? It's what I wanted to do, which is create habits. Growth Day is helping me create better habits that are not only improving my life, my health, but improving my business. And in this case, leading a grassroots movement that requires a lot of my time, energy, and creativity. That's what this Growth Day app is for. And for me, that was a game changer. So I purchased the app for the year and integrated it into my learning outcomes and submitted it to my college as part of my learning plan for CEUs for this year. And I encourage every professional out there, whether you're in healthcare or not, think about Growth Day as that, because it's a game changer in so many ways, and it's in our hands.
I was just going to pull it up. Exactly. I was like, it's right here.
It's right here. And what I love about it too, Kim, and we'll get into the details of it in a second, but I love that when I'm driving in the car, whether it's to, go to an appointment or pick up my kids from something or whatever it is, I can listen to The Morning Fire by Brendan on the go. I can plug it in my ear when I've got my weighted vest on, layering my tools. I'm out for my walk, but I'm listening to a teaching from one of the world leaders, whether it's a Mel Robbins or it's a Ed Milet or whoever it is. So it's just being integrated into my habits, but then it also has tracking. So, and I know you're the queen of tracking. So can you talk about this app and all the features in it and why I'm talking like I am, that it's a game changer?
Yeah, absolutely. So Growth Day is an app, so you'll get it right on your phone, which is incredible. There's so many different ways that you can really learn and use this. So there's a checklist perspective, like Marg said. There's daily mindset, daily prompts. This is an amazing tool that is Brendan literally talking to you.
Happy Wednesday, Striver. It is midweek.
Right? So you're getting this like daily wisdom.
Your Wednesday focus to think about your personal development, to recalibrate the week. Here we are.
So this is something that you're getting right each day. So this is from Brendan every day. And again, Brendan is world-renowned, incredible coach, highly sought after, and you're getting high-level executive coaching from him every day in this like beautiful, whether it be an 8 to, well, he's a little long-winded, 18 minutes, but like Mark said, it's just like a podcast. You're putting it in while you're driving. You're putting it in while you're walking. For me, I actually have it stacked when I work out. So when I work out in the morning, this goes in my ears and my headphones. I just like literally do this. I'm doing my workout. I'm able to do this. So I can still kind of hear the cueing of the workout, but I'm listening to personal growth because I love the modality of moving and learning. And then what you also will get is these incredible mindset prompts. So this is one of the things, Marg, that's actually in a world that leaves us so busy. And I'm a journaler. I'm an author of a journal. I love journaling. I love meditation. I love morning practice, but it's often the easiest thing to not do.
Totally.
So what I love about this is it's one question. So I'd love to share the question. Did your focus today serve what you are ultimately after in your life's vision? Journal about where you are giving your attention. So it's allowing you as a leader in your life, wherever you are, whether or not you are, a stay-at-home mama or just had babies and your vision right now is raising these babies and keeping the humans alive, right? Or maybe it's this, or maybe it's building out that business, or for Marg, it's literally changing the world and how preventative care operates. It's a big mission. And if there are things that are actually pulling you away from the mission, we got to catch that.
And you know what's beautiful?
This allows you to do that, right? It stops you.
It stops you and it makes you reflect and really evaluate, because distraction has never been at its highest. We are the least connected, but connected world. And this stops and makes you reflect. These prompts, and I want to say this about Brendan as well, because the science girls in us, this is based in research. This is not fluff and stuff. It is rooted in research and in all kinds of different research, psychology and performance. And so what's really cool about these prompts is they're not just fluff and stuff. They're thought about with purpose, and it really stops. And it has done stop me in my tracks sometimes. And I'm like, how am I going to answer this? Yeah. And what's cool is I can do it right here on my phone and answer it, because I think sometimes, and I'm going to give a plug for your Lead Her
journal.
Yeah. I meant to have it with me to show her. If you don't have it, you should show it right now, Kim. But I love having pen to paper. There it is. Yep. If you don't have this Lead Her now, you should. Having pen to paper is important. It's important for neurocognition. It's really important. However, in the world that we live in, and sometimes when we're so overwhelmed, having a prompt that's been thought through for some reason really helps me to quickly focus in a really powerful way. And I can record it right in the app, and then I can journal about it longerhand in the journal, your journal afterwards. Because sometimes I feel overwhelmed when I'm having a tough day. when, at the end of last year, we lost my father-in-law after a stroke. It was Christmas time. I felt wrung out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, journal what? Like, I don't know, what's my name? I don't know the prompt. Well, it's right in the Growth Day app. And for me, that has been instrumental in keeping me on track and having the ability to say this. No. No to that someone asked me, because I love to do it all. But does it serve my vision, my purpose, and where I'm heading?
Yeah.
And I'm getting clearer and clearer. If there's even, talk about it in the app, there's a question with every day, ask and reflecting on some questions to look at your own health. How was your sleep? Go through it, Kim.
How is your clarity? How is your energy, right? You're rating this, so low through 5. How is your necessity, right? I felt it was necessary to be my best, and I made success a must. So it's pulling you into that reflection of, did I lead myself well today? Did I lead my teams well today? Do I know what success means for me, right? So this is just absolutely this high performance coach in your pocket, leading you through, like you said, NLP, rooted in research. It's not just physical, emotional, mental, it's everything. It's very psychosocial. Productivity. I worked on things that mattered today. Gives you the prompt to go and look back. Where did my energy go? Did I spend half of the day scrolling, or did I spend half the day in my purpose? Right? So it's really getting you to understand, what does productivity mean? Influence. Did I have a positive influence? I guided or treated others well today. I often think, did I guide me well as well? So it's giving you these like opportunities to pause. Courage. I shared my real self thoughts and feelings today. Movement. I avoided being sedentary. If you want a big life, you have to take care of yourself. Like Mark said, you are the anchor. You are the one that you get to lead this first. And if you're not moving, if you're not sleeping, if you don't have clarity, then it was mood. Then it's your sleep. I love that he said 7 to 8 hours is mandatory, like your minimum base. A lot of us, I don't know about anyone listening, but like I used to be the proud 5 hour, and that doesn't work for someone who wants to be high performance. So it's changing the patterns. And then it's nutrition as well, which I love, because if you're not fueling yourself intentionally, if you're under eating, that's just as much as an issue of overeating. Like, you have to figure this out. Nutrition's key, right? For your longevity and your health. Then there's another prompt, which I love. And then at the end, it scores you. And you're able to see a trend of your trending of your scores. And that's important, because your trends will reveal your truth. Your truth will reveal your freedom in your life and where you want to go. And really, I love the quote. I'm not sure who said it, but the level of success, or the level of, I would say, like the most meaningful pursuits in your life, is the ability of the amount of truth you're able to handle about yourself without walking away. And this just gives you the opportunity, right, to be like, oh, I didn't nail that today, but I'm going to make that a priority tomorrow because it's important to me. And we move forward with no shame, no judgment, just being curious. Oh, I'm going to get curious on that, not judgmental. And this really teaches you that.
It really does. In a really, you said NLP. For those that don't know what that is, neuro-linguistic programming, which is really, science girl in me loves that, because it is about rewiring our brain. It is, we can all, through every age and stage in life, we're talking to a gerontologist here, and somebody that's done a lot of work in healthy aging, but more importantly, health span, not just lifespan. We don't want to just live longer. We want to live optimally and well until we take our last breath. And we have that opportunity. But here's the reality. And this is where what this app does, and what people like us do in helping to coach, is making sure you're accountable. Because we can put our blinders on and pretend, but if we want to reach goals and not get to the end of 2025 and look back and go, still here where I was, we got to roll up our sleeves, get honest and real, and do the work, which is why the tagline for Preventative Health Month and Movement is become the CEO of your health.
I love that.
Because we do have to take accountability. You can't pass the buck always. Sure, things happen for you, and that can be a struggle, and we have to honor that and take time to manage that, because life and loss and grief is a living thing. but we do have to take ownership and be accountable. And this is what I find the app is so good in both aspects of my life, the personal and in my professional. And now I'm sharing it, with my patients or with this PHAM community, because I want everybody to have the opportunity to be guided from the top people and to witness what it feels like to get into that driver's seat.
About that. The other thing, Marg, that's really important to note as well is that, and this is for some of you lifelong learners, but there's a learn section on the bottom. So every person has access to all of these different courses. So you could literally think about, what do I need? So this one is like meditations for life challenges, finding your purpose, starting your dream. There's leadership masterclasses. There's mindset and resilience masterclasses. And I'll just go, for example, to show you what this looks like. But these are all these different leaders and instructors that you'll know, right? So think about this is like Brendan Bouchard, Glo Etano, David Botch, Jonathan Fields on resilience, Jamie Kern-Lima on overcoming rejection, Jenna Kutcher, Anthony Trucks, Dr. Daniel Amen. There's so many amazing,
Dr. Amen. I mean, the brain guy, everyone. If anybody, like he's in this app. So, I can pay to go to conferences, which I still do, and I want to learn. But in this app, all these world experts and leaders are pouring in. And why? Well, it speaks to Brendan. It speaks to he's earned their respect. His results have impacted high performance athletes, as you mentioned, presidents, the likes of Oprah, Mel Robbins. And so this is why people are putting their hand up and contributing to what this Growth Day app is about. And this is what it's like.
Going on. I mean, the amount of courses in here are absolutely incredible, which is phenomenal, so it's like there's a bunch of challenges, whether it be 5-day challenges. You see Mel Robbins, Let Them Theory. Hers is the High Five Challenge, right? For the 5 habits. So for those of you that are like, I'm really looking to develop this, the other thing is like a high performance habit builder. You don't know where to start with your habits. And maybe you might be like, I'm supposed to have this all together. Just go get taught by Brendan. Right? He talks about all this. Like here, it's like rededicate to the basics. 7-8 hours of sleep, 5 days of exercise, minimum 3 healthy meals. It's like just bringing us back to the basics, Marg, which I think sometimes we overcomplicate personal growth. We overcomplicate to think it's got to be this next trend. It's got to just be, at the end of the day, I love Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because if we can just work through those basic needs and you identify what is my basic need, I believe this helps me identify that, because it doesn't have the glitz and the glam. It really is just from a science, heart to heart, human-led type of information, and it makes you feel successful. Would you not agree, Marg? Like I've never felt like I'm behind it's like, okay, here's how I can help you sharpen the sword in your life.
Yes, and it's self-led, which is what I love. It's in my hand, and self-led, which is great. And that's what I said to you. I don't like programs that put us in a box. We're living, breathing, ever-evolving humans, and therefore our learning and growth has to evolve that way as well. And if you feel like, I've let myself down because I didn't complete every single day, don't get me wrong. You have to be consistent. You can't do something once and expect to have it happen. But there's so many tools, and it meets you where you're at, in your hands, on the go, anywhere, with some of the world leaders. It's been a game changer for me. And I want for all of you that are watching, that are in human resources at big companies, when we look at the trends in North America, the epidemic in mental health issues and in addiction, because of disconnection, quite frankly, people are burned out, they're overwhelmed, and like you said, keeping it simple. I think that it's really, really important to recognize that an app like this in bigger corporations could be an unbelievable tool.
Agreed. Let me show you more about this amazing app. One of the things I also really, really love about this is he pulls in the people that have changed his life. And what happens is you inadvertently get to meet some of the greats. So for example, I met Erwin McManus this weekend when I was at the Ultra event. He also has events as well, Marg. That when you're part of Growth Day, you can attend events with Brendan. another beautiful way to meet other people. I went knowing one person, I left knowing 30 of them, right? Because events are just ways. So if you feel like, hey, I don't really have a community, I don't really have a group of learners, that's not my reality, I don't have a group of friends or family that endorse personal growth and development, then it's up to you to find them, right? It's up to you to link arms, and this gives you that as well.
You know what I love about what you just said, and thanks for taking the reins there, I knew you would. What I love about what you just said is that's what FAM is trying to create a community. But how cool would it be, Kim, is to have some family, we call them family,
yes.
growth day event.
Yes, let's meet in Austin.
Exactly. There's an event coming up in Austin, which is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
What I also love, because I know we're going to need to finish up here, we could talk about this all day long, is that you can try this app out for free.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to make sure you get a link to go and try it for free. But when is the event in Austin? Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next event that Brendan's running is called the Growth Day event. So anybody that's a Growth Day member is available to come. It's on April 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Austin, Texas. There will be hotel information and all those things coming. I believe I think it's a $99 ticket in order to come to cover for the 3 days, which is phenomenal. So yeah, we'll give more information. Marg will drop the link, and then you'll be able to really learn what is this? How do I get involved? And then all the information will be coming.
Absolutely. And at the very least, we're going to make sure you get a link to the free trial.
Yeah, try it. 7 days.
You have to try it. And I think that's the key. When we're hesitant, just roll up your sleeves. And I always say, live where the butterflies are. If this is something that makes you uncomfortable and you're not sure, every day, I just said this to a good friend yesterday, I try to do something every day that makes me a little bit fearful or a little bit uneasy, because I know that when we're talking about growth happens when we get in the uncomfortable zone. As Brenda Burchard will always say, every day is a good day to grow. And in order to do that, though, sometimes we have to get a little uncomfortable, because here's the reality. If we keep doing what we've always done, we're going to get what we always have gotten. And it's long overdue to create the change that you want to see happen for yourself and the world. Hence why Preventative Health Awareness Month and Movement, why I put this right near the end of the month for Preventative Health Month, as you've stocked your toolbox all month long. This is a tool that has to be in your toolbox, in my opinion, because it's what's going to propel you forward. Because as soon as March 1st comes, yes, the month is done, but the movement is happening all year long. And this community, the family, whether it be with Growth Day or Growth Day and FAM together, we're here to help support you, non-judgmental, but to lift you up. And I mean, just before we go, Kim, talk about, I love this in Growth Day, and we both use an app for exercise too, which I love, the Made For app. But we've got online groups that are cheering each other on. When you look at complete strangers that are helping one another to feel you're included from different parts of the globe, that's the type of thing that I want to be part of. Speak about that for a quick minute, just the sense of the different ways to interact.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things, Marg. You and I, we love leading ourselves well. We are always looking for the highest solution that will serve where you want to go, how you want to lead yourself. And that's what we did. So we're finding amazing nutrition and amazing workouts and amazing things that'll help us lead ourselves well. But then we know we need community. Because for me, it's like, if I didn't see Marg's cute face being like, already got my workout done, it's so tempting to not get it done. Or you'll see those people that are like, hey, wasn't able to move my body today, but look how I fueled myself instead, and I rested intentionally. And it's this community of women really that are supporting each other from the root of, hey, I see you, I feel you, I understand that we need to move our bodies and feel well so that we can lead well. And it's just having this created space that allows us to do that, and I just am so grateful for you, Marg. I love leading this life with you and figuring out how can we sharpen our sword so that we can then be the best moms and be the best career women and, most importantly, be the best for ourselves. I spent a lot of my life, Marg, missing myself. And I just want to share, if that resonated with any of you, That's what this movement is about too. It's about you coming home to yourself, because when you can come home to yourself, when you can know yourself, you can prevent so many things from going this way when you want them to go this way. And we are in control of that. We are in control of how we move our bodies. We are in control of how we talk to ourselves versus listen to ourselves. We are in control of what we read. We are in control of what we decide to do with our hours, for the most part, right? And when you learn how to be in control and have agency of that, and you're finding the people that are doing the things that align with you, there's going to be success there and synergy there.
And as a result, that's the way we change the world, because as we said at the beginning, bringing this full circle, better together, but we're all vibrating particles, and the energy we share impacts one another. And as a result, who was I to start a mission like this 3 years ago? Well, I knew that I could be the trunk of a tree to watch all kinds of things blossom from it. And I've been humbled and grateful to see that happen. And because of people like you and so many others. So thank you, Kim, for joining me today. If anybody has questions, make sure you're following Kim. We'll make sure we put where we can reach, but tell everybody where they can reach you right away.
You can find me on Instagram at Kim_M_Fitzpatrick. We also have a podcast called The Fitz Life Unfiltered that you may love. It's a really like this, much conversation about life, leadership, and unfiltered living.
I love that, with your beautiful husband, Jamie, and it is real and authentic, and I do love that. And of course, for all of you listening, thank you for being part of the family. Remember that a healthy tomorrow begins with prevention today. And I'm going to leave you with this thought on this growth day. It's always a good day to grow. Stay safe, stay well, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Marg.